the cult that buried 150 members in a forest. A true story from Kenya. They called him a prophet, a gentle man of God, they said, sent to prepare them for the end of the world. But deep inside the Shakahola forest in Kenya, buried beneath layers of red soil and silence, lay a truth so horrifying, even hardened investigators broke down at the scene. Bodies, dozens at first, then hundreds, all loyal followers of one man, some still clutching tattered Bibles, others buried with children in their arms, all of them victims of one of the most gruesome mass tragedies in recent African history. This is not fiction. This is the chilling true story of how a man turned a holy mission into a death cult, and how no one stopped him in time. It started quietly, just a whisper in a rural village. A charismatic preacher named Paul Nthenja Mackenzie had left his job as a taxi driver and found his true calling, spreading the gospel. He preached fire and brimstone. He warned of modern corruption. He condemned schools, hospitals, and vaccines as tools of the devil. And he promised one thing that caught desperate ears: salvation through sacrifice. At first, his sermons attracted only the poor and struggling, people looking for meaning, for healing, for hope. But then came the educated ones, teachers, engineers, nurses, who believed the world had become too wicked to save. They were told the end times were near, that only the pure would see God, that the rest of us were already damned. They sold everything they had, their homes, their cars, their land. They brought the money to Mackenzie's compound in Malindi, where he would bless it, burn it, or keep it, depending on what God told him to do. And then, one by one, they followed him deep into the forest. Shakahola, the place he said God had chosen, a holy ground far from the corruption of modern life. But what it became was a mass graveyard. Inside the forest, followers were forbidden to eat. They were told food was sinful, hunger was purification, and death was the only way to meet Jesus. Children were starved first. Their parents watched. Some of them begged for mercy. But Mackenzie told them, "Let the little ones go first. They will enter the kingdom before you." Some parents buried their own children. With trembling hands and tearless eyes, they dug shallow graves while praying aloud. Then came the turn of the mothers, the fathers, the elderly. Some resisted. They were labeled possessed, starved, beaten, or locked in huts, denied water until they submitted to God's will. No one escaped. No one dared disobey, because by then they didn't see Mackenzie as a man anymore. He was God's final messenger, and disobedience was damnation. How could this happen? How could police ignore so many disappearances? Why didn't neighbors speak up when entire families vanished overnight? Because Mackenzie was smart. He registered his cult as a church. He called it Good News International Ministries, and he used words like fasting and faith to cover what was really happening: systematic mass murder under the guise of religion. Authorities were warned, reports were made, but no one wanted to challenge a man with God behind him. Not until it was too late. In March 2023, a frantic mother escaped the forest. Her 3 children had already died. She was weak, sick, barely able to speak, but her words were enough. "They're dying, all of them. Please, go." Police raided the forest. What they found made international headlines, but the cameras didn't capture the smell, the silence, the sheer number of bodies. By the 3rd day, they stopped counting out loud. 150, then 200. More than 400 graves were eventually marked, some with as many as 5 bodies in one. There were graves for toddlers, babies, even pregnant women. Some were buried alive, others died praying. Some simply gave up, laid down on the forest floor, and waited. One forensic officer reported, "There was a Bible in nearly every grave. Some had their arms crossed over it, like they truly believed it would take them to heaven." But heaven never came. And what of Mackenzie? He was arrested, alive, well-fed, and defiant. He claimed he never forced anyone, that people came willingly, that God told him what to preach, and he simply obeyed. He smiled in court. He refused to eat, claiming he too was fasting. But unlike his followers, he was fed through tubes. To this day, his trial continues. But the evidence is overwhelming. Over 429 confirmed deaths, countless children missing, and survivors too traumatized to speak. In the aftermath, investigators found journals, dozens of them, written by the cult's members. "God will take me soon. I miss my son. He went first. Pastor says we are lucky. The world outside is evil. We are the chosen. I don't want to die, but I don't want to go to hell either. This was not just a crime. It was a massacre wrapped in scripture, a genocide hidden in worship, and a failure of every system designed to protect the innocent. But here's the most chilling part. Even now, some survivors still believe in Mackenzie. They believe they were tested, that those who died were the truly faithful, and they missed their chance at salvation. That is the power of control. That is the danger of blind belief. And that is why this story matters. Justice is coming. Mackenzie now faces charges of terrorism, murder, child abuse, and radicalization. And for the first time, the Kenyan government is cracking down on rogue preachers and unregistered churches. The forest of Shakahola is now a crime scene, a memorial, and a warning. Because evil doesn't always come with guns. Sometimes it comes with a smile and a Bible. This is Crimes Uncovered. If this story opened your eyes, like and subscribe. We uncover what others won't. We give voice to the silenced, because the dead deserve to be remembered, and the living deserve the truth.